Hey guys, and welcome again in Welker's Farm. I'm Andrew of Border Farm Games, and here we are for another nice day in a very nice contract. Now, I know that the in-game days are not ticking actually, but real-life days are ticking. Um, but anyway, I wanted to check in as we are very seriously rolling into the harvest on this field. As you can see, the headlands are just done, and this is my first go at the bulk of the field. um, but everything is going dandy and fine. um, all that's happening on the farm right now is that the black dragon is going up and down alongside the field, and I am transporting the wheat to the selling point where it has to be dropped as per the directions of the contractor. Yeah, so that's what's going on. Otherwise, everything is just the usual. It's a mildly boring Wednesday for me in real life. Um, I've been to work. I'm done with that. Uh, what else? Yeah, there was a story time on my mind for quite some time ago, and this is a wonderful time to do that. And this time around, I'm going to talk about not about music, and not about YouTube, because realistically, right now there is nothing to talk about over there. The whole Copa ordeal is slowly settling down, and it seems that everybody will survive. Oh, thank God. That doesn't mean that YouTube ended up being the good guys all of a sudden. I'm just saying uh, that it seems that their nefarious conducts won't cause us trouble, so that's fine. Yeah. Anyway, back to the original topic what I want to talk about. So it's not music, but it's well, kind of cinema, but not really. Again, no, it's a strange area. It's I would call it Andrew and anime. Now, I'm not a huge anime fan per se, but there are a few that I enjoy, and I tried my hands at reading manga like twice in my life. So you could say I'm not entirely uh, stranger for the whole subculture, but I'm not a huge consumer of that either. But that being said, there is one specific manga slash anime that I came to like over the years, and that is Captain Harlock, or no, Space Fighter Captain Harlock. That was the title of the original one. Now, if you don't know, the whole concept very shortly is that it's set obviously in the future of 2999, so it's 29. Oh no, it's 2997 AD. Not that it matters too much, that 2 years difference. And the story is that the basic story is that there is some alien threat um, trying to undo Earth, and Captain Harlock is the only sane person standing in the way of that threat, because everyone else who really cares about things has moved away to off-world colonies and tries to find their luck out there. Um, and then in the original manga and the first anime that were done in the 70s, I think, it was an alien race called the Mazone, and then in later iterations it was always something else. Like there was a 2002 anime series where the threat was a demonic entity called Nu and its servants. So yeah, but the basic premise is the same. That Captain Harlock is the legendary hero who protects Earth, even though the authorities, the human authorities, see him as a villain, as a never do well, who only seeks his own glory and his uh, um, own wealth, well-being. Yet, in truth, you and I, the viewers, know that he is the most selfless and noble person, and the skull and crossbone flag represents nothing but the freedom uh, and and the love for that freedom and the love for the ideal that everyone has to have this freedom. Yeah, and now, right as of this day, I have seen a few episodes, not all of them, of the original anime from the 70s, and I have seen this 2002 uh, reiteration or rehash. Um, and then I have seen the 2013 animated movie. That was a 3D animated movie, so absolutely uh, walking off the genre of anime, I would say. Um, and I was comparing the three in a few different aspects. Obviously, in terms of looks, the 2013 movie is the best. I mean, it's a nicely drawn movie with lots and lots of post processing and whatnot. It looks staggeringly lifelike in many occasions, except that the characters are these typical Japanese cartoon figures, or retain uh, um, some of those artistic qualities, but makes it look very, very appealing to the eye. Um, but other than that, so obviously the main character or the protagonist is Captain Harlock, who is always shown or characterized in the same way. He has his iconic look and his iconic behavior, and then there are certain supporting characters that are always present. Um, Another thing to point out is that the movie, the animated film, diverts from this classic format of the story, and there he pits Captain Harlock just simply against the human authorities. There is no alien angle or alien arc to the story whatsoever. There it delves upon the idea that mankind left Earth to chase their dreams, but they realize that they cannot find happiness out in space, and then they wanted to return to Earth, and so hold on, the engine is not running. And then they couldn't because the authorities called the Gaia Coalition stood in their way, and the Homecoming War erupted, and as a resolution of that war, uh, 4 ships were created to safeguard Earth from preventing the masses to return. One of them was Arcadia, but then Captain Harlock turned against the authorities and practically, uh, I don't tell you what he did with Earth to make sure that the whole thing is pointless. Um, and Earth is now a sacred sanctuary zone, and no one can return to Earth because practically in a way he sealed it away from everyone. Um, Finding out that the rich and the powerful did return to Earth. No, never anyway. So yeah, and then he made a mistake and he tries to undo this mistake. So yeah, that's the main premise of the movie. That's different and more dramatic, and the whole thing is a lot darker, and that makes it an absolutely different thing. But comparing an anime from the 70s and an anime from now mind you, I've seen the original one. I've seen the version with the English dubs from the 80s. Um, and then the 2002 two anime was dubbed in English from the get-go, so that's that's a given. And because I have no problem with Japanese talk, but when I can, I like to watch things so that I understand them without reading subtitles. Uh, so that's why. Anyway, so there are a few interesting things. Like one, the most interesting, and I know that this is coming from uh, absolutely from a different problem altogether, that the names were altered in the 80s American dub of the original series. They were translated to English in the sense that the Japanese names were turned into English names. Like there is a character called Tadashi Daiba, and he was turned into Terry Drake, uh, and stuff like that. But other than that, there are differences. While the story more or large is the same, that Captain Harlock is facing the alien threat coming from outer space and prevailing over it. Um, the original version is much more in depth and much more detailed. It has lots and lots of side stories and um, sidelines, and you can get sidetracked, and it's busy, lots and lots of things going on. The spaceship that is the centerpiece of the whole story, the Arcadia, that is the ship of Captain Harlock. That is a very very versatile machine that can turn into a submarine, and I don't know what else, and um, yeah. And then uh, he practically the whole mythology of the Arcadia is not so very well defined at this point. Like, yes, the captain gives lots and lots of free time to the crew, but when there is a serious situation like a combat situation or something, he expects them to be sharp and on their uh, and provide their very best. Um, and so the crew gets lots and lots of occasions to shine, and almost every episode contains a moment where it depends on the heroics or the very very good performance of the crew, that they make it out alive from a sticky situation. Uh, do I wanna? Yeah, let's empty anyway. And and that's awesome. And then slowly the whole myth of the Arcadia came to life, and then it was an idea from the get-go that the main computer um, of the ship contains the mind of Captain Harlock's best friend, and he can take over the ship when it's necessary, and he can control all the systems on the ship, and he knows the ship like no one else, and he can avert the greatest dangers. And there is at least one occasion when he saves the day. Uh, and that's an integral part of the story. But then in 2002 already it's much more prevalent. The ship always knows where it wants to go. It operates fine without crew. Uh, it's part of the journey to get the crew together, but it's absolutely voluntary thing to come on board and serve again on the ship, because the ship can do fine without crew, but it's much more interesting to have people on board, and or I don't know what's the point. And then eventually what Captain Harlock does, he leaves the crew behind for the crucial mission to save the world, because he doesn't expect them to risk their lives and all that. And that is just one side of the things that I want to get at. Uh, that actually the crew has no pivotal role in the story at all. Um, the crew is just there to entertain you. Like, it's very funny that the first officer is building plastic model kits, and he does that all the time, and he behaves like a kid. Also, it's very interesting that there are a few important characters who are uh, male characters who are pictured as fully grown men, but in the crew outside of Captain Harlock, everyone else is pictured as grown kids or little people in terms of height and movement and behavior and everything like that. And then that doesn't really stand for the female characters, and that brings us to an interesting thing, because there is an important support character called Keiyuki, um, who is this very hot blonde female character, female protagonist type. Is this very good looking chick with nice body, and it's very strongly articulated because she wears this tight red leather slash latex suit that follows her curves very tightly and all that. And she's like the crush of all the crew except for the captain, and yeah, she's iconic in that term. And funnily enough, in the original storyline in the 70s anime, and I reckon also in the 70s manga, uh, she has a very important role as being the attendant officer at the bridge, even though she's called I think she's called first officer, but she isn't really, and she's coordinating the crew as it operates when in action, and that leads to lots and lots of interaction between her and all the other characters. And then suddenly it's taken away from her because obviously uh, I reckon it's feminism and everything. She's turned into a female counterpart of the captain, and she becomes this very badass character who does the bravados like the captain does. That's especially there in the animated movie from 2013, which I think had a very strong American influence on it. But don't quote me on that. So she's no longer this attendant officer at the bridge. She's this freelance agent on board, who does or complements the same thing, but that the main character, the captain, does. But I mean, that's something that the captain already does, and it takes away so much. And that's so interesting to see if you compare the same story told two different ways. Um, it's so interesting. Also, it's important to note that in the original story there is no romantic angle whatsoever, but then they obviously they had to put a romantic angle in it, especially in the animated film, or yeah, the movie, um, where it's pretty clear that Keiyuki has the hots on the captain, and at least on one occasion, one member of the crew um, says that it's easy for her because she's in the captain's band, and then in reality she's not. She's not together with the captain. She just have the hots on the captain, but it's absolutely one-sided. Um, because the captain is suggested with the alien chick Mime, uh, but then again it is nothing like that. So and I don't even know why we need that, because the dynamics between the characters work so well in the original story, like in the sense that everyone is a member of the crew, and everyone has their place as a member of the crew, and they do that, and then suddenly two things are done to make or to dislodge the crew and to make them just unimportant side characters from support characters. I hope you see the difference between the two. Um, um, so that in originally they have a role in running the ship, and then later on they lose that role, and therefore they are there for just entertainment and eye candy and whatnot. Yeah, and this is something that I noticed. And why am I telling this to you guys? What is that I try to get at? Is it is that it's a typical or very well articulated example of uh, good writing going bad over readapting and rehashing over and over again, instead of creating new uh, stories about new characters. And this is a huge problem nowadays with the whole entertainment industry, and not just Hollywood, that they think that if they say the same stories or tell the same stories over and over again, just with different not well, what I want is so with with different emphasis and some alterations the character's background and behavior, it's becoming up to date and relevant. But the fact is that uh, what happens is that the those connecting elements that make the original story a valid and a good story are taken away, and and so the whole cohesion is gone, and it's no longer what it was, and it can't be what the creators want it to be. and and that's a serious problem, and that's one of the reasons why I don't really watch movies anymore, or don't really watch series. I usually stick to YouTube when I have time. Also, that and probably the fact that it's not the same watching a movie while uh, pushing the combine forward in the field all day. When you have a free 30 minutes, you do that. Then obviously watching the movie or anything like that is not for you. But yeah, it's just been on my mind for some time now, um, because I've been casually watching this. Oh, hold on, I'm not turning because we're dropping the load. But anyway, I highly recommend, if you are interested in stuff like that, to check out any of the Captain Harlock stories you can put your hands on. Um, because the basic premise is very good, and all generally all of them make for good entertainment. um, and it operates with the classic tropes of uh, Japanese cartoons or animes, that it's mixing drama and comedy and action, and overall the classic animes are very well drawn, no matter when they were made. um, and as I said, the 2013 animated movie is also an eye candy, and I don't say it's a very original story, but it's a good one. It's a nice fairy tale to watch. So um, I highly recommend it. Yeah. So this was a story time for you guys. Don't forget that right now I'm pushing for 50 subscribers until Christmas, and what's going to happen if we get there is that I will start doing lives regularly, like once every week. And to further motivate you to go for it is that you will get the ability to vote uh, for uh, what you want to see during the live. Um, I'm actively thinking on how to realize that. Mm, and obviously, this will involve several options every single time. Um, like Farming Simulator will almost always be up for it. Uh, and then Borderlands. We'll see what are the options, but you will get to decide what you want to see, and it's going to be awesome. Uh, and it's going to happen as soon as I get to 50 subscribers. If I get to 50 subscribers until Christmas, then it's going to happen in the winter break. If not, then it happens when it's going to happen. If I will have the 50 subscribers next week, then it starts next week. So it's really just my goal is to get there the until Christmas. Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, thank you guys for checking out the video. I hope you enjoyed and you don't mind me bantering about stuff like uh, animes I watch or music that I listen every now and then, because I enjoy that. Um, Also, in the comment section, uh, don't hesitate to write down if you have seen Captain Harlock, if you liked it or not. If you haven't seen, what animes do you enjoy? Um, you can recommend me good ones, and then if you have anything else to say, you can do that as well. It's all right. Um, Also, don't forget to drop a like on the video. That is highly motivational to do another video for you guys. Uh, and I would like to do that, but the more like I get, it's the better feeling. So yeah, do that, and see you next time. Until then, behave yourselves and don't buy strangers.